Forests cover 30% of Earth's entire surface, and they do so much for us. They clean our air, promote soil erosion, provide safe habitats and ecosystems for our wildlife, give us a place to fish and hike, and most importantly, serve as mass storages of carbon, ultimately defending our world against global warming. In the United States, we rely on these forests to repel approximately 13% of our global warming pollution every year. On the other hand, power companies are faced with pressure from people all around the world to search for alternatives to fossil fuels like coal and petroleum to promote a greener impact for our society. This leads to the introduction and the high emphasis on the new energy source of biomass burning. Biomass burning is essentially the burning of living and dead vegetation in order to release the solar energy stored in the plant matter into use. Common forms of biomass from which energy can be extracted from include wood chips, corn, alcohol fuels, manure, but predominantly trees. The conversion process of biomass involves either turning it to ethanol and gasoline or just simply burning it like coal to generate heat and electricity. Companies are under the unfortunate assumption that biomass is a perfectly acceptable substitute for coal, since after all, trees and vegetation are a renewable resource and will always eventually grow back. However, just like coal, trees will accumulate carbon when they are burned in biomass plants, and they will release mass amounts of emissions into our atmosphere. Companies are motivated more now than ever to target forests as what they believe to be an easy source of biomass. Currently, power companies are pushing Congress to allow them to cut and burn our forest lands, even those considered in national forests, just for their own production of energy. Our duty as citizens under the protection of the conservation policies is to stop them immediately. There are three main reasons why biomass burning should be a huge concern for America. The first one is the increase of the destruction in our forests. In America, 33% of our lands are covered in forests, and we have approximately 155 national forests. This new adoption of biomass burning has America suffering severe deforestation, and if Congress can be convinced, our precious national forests that we have preserving for decades will be hacked away as well. If we continue to support biomass burning, we will be violating our duties to support conservation of our treasured lands. The next major impact of biomass burning is the drastic climate change eventually that will result. Tree loss affects 20% of the carbon pollution that is contributed to global warming. Trees, having the factor of almost being half water by weight, cause most of the energy to burn off that water before actually even having any useful energy. This unnecessary burning calls for less efficiency and the addition of 40% more carbon emissions into our atmosphere compared to coal. Imagine how much carbon buildup from over 100 biomass plants over a series of years can do to our atmosphere, and how it can affect each and every single one of us. Finally, there's the serious concern of air pollution that biomass burning brings. Biomass burning produces sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide, and numerous other toxic substances. These pollutants have been concluded by studies to have increased asthma, respiratory disease, and a decline in lung function among children exposed to the wood smoke. All these factors can eventually lead to premature death. Clearly, the public's health will be directly affected. As citizens who should emphasize on the significance of conservation, we should enact a proposal to Congress that enforces these power plant companies to avoid going over their limit on the pollution produced, enforce the protection of the last of our grasslands and forests, and safeguard our precious wildlife at the same time, and preserve not only our federal forests, but our unprotected lands as well, such as roadless areas and wilderness study fields. We as active citizens of America should remember that our tax dollars contribute to the burning of forests for fuel. This issue directly affects us, so we need to take a stand to make sure our money goes into a more efficient environmental source of energy. To research more on biomass burning, visit nrdc.org and remember that one person can make a difference. Thank you for listening. I am Nguyen and I approve this message. Woohoo!